Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
You know how it is when your 3-year-old daughter asks you a brilliant question that you don't know the answer to. So you ask your employees to help you answer it, and they do, but it takes them 5 years to figure it out. But that's okay because it leads to you creating a new product that you demonstrate at a department store, and everyone is so blown away by it that it sells out in minutes. And that excitement is sustained for the next 25 years, not only making you billions of dollars, but helping you amass a 16,000-piece art collection with works from some of history's greatest artists that you eventually have to auction off as part of your bankruptcy requirements. No? You don't know how that is? Well, Edwin Land did. And that's why this week's episode of On Brand is on Polaroid.
You're all jazzed up, really having a cow. You want your favorite show and it's on right now. It's on Brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa.
Hi, I'm Jon.
Hi, I'm Marisa.
Marisa, do you get that little pop-up every Sunday that tells you if your screen time on your phone is increasing or decreasing?
Yes.
Mine is always increasing. And I was thinking today, like at some point, will it just be all day? Like, is it, mine's like, I think it's like 8 hours. It says.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. What's yours? Like 15 minutes?
2 hours, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine's at 8 hours.
But is this for work? Are you talking about for work? It's for work.
Please tell me it's for work.
Please tell me you send all your emails and write all of your research
by
documents
phone
on your phone.
Everything on phone? No, I mean, I don't know.
That might be normal. I don't know. That might be normal these days. You know, everybody loves their little clicking, clacking on their little gizmos.
Yes. The first person I brought it up this morning, and he had just gotten his. He said his is, 6 or 7 hours. Like
6 or 7 hours?
Yeah.
That feels like so much time. That's
I
like
know.
a whole work day.
It really does seem like a lot of time, but you think it's okay. So it's like 3 hours of TikTok in bed.
Oh.
You don't do that?
No.
What is I will say, I feel like I text you a lot where I just don't hear from you for hours. I think I am on my phone a lot more than you.
Yeah, that's possible. And times where if I am like alone, if I'm not taking care of children or my husband isn't here, I will, be surfing the web a bit more. I will be riding the cyber highway.
God, I'm such a grandma.
But I don't bring my phone in bed. I can't do it because I know it will just kill my brain.
I don't even have to ask Al. Let me guess what's happened here. One, Al is like, yep, Jon is gross. He just confirms it weekly. Here's another thing to put in the gross pile. I'm going to quickly look and see what the average time is that people look at their phone, and now he's going to tell us. Am I right?
That's what he just did.
6 hours, 37 minutes per day is the global average.
This is shocking.
What you're saying and what I'm hearing is I'm above average.
You've always been an overachiever.
I am above average on screen time.
That's very vulnerable of you to share.
Again, I'm all about just being an open book on this pod.
But it does make me think like we do feel like there's not enough hours in the day to like do all the things we want to do. We're of a generation that remembers a time where we didn't have cell phones, right?
I'm not. You are. I'm quite young.
Yeah, what are you, 17, 18?
Yeah. I was born in 2006.
You'll be legal this year. What did people do? What did you do with an extra 8 hours in your day?
Not only did I not have a cell phone, if someone on my family was on the phone, I would walk to the grocery store and use the payphone outside to make calls to my friends.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you ever had to do that.
No, I've never had to do that. But I do remember not having a cell phone. Obviously, as a teenager, I didn't have a cell phone. And you would just be away for hours and hours from your family and having to call 1-800-COLLECT. And then in the time that you're supposed to be saying
right.
your name, you say, Mom, can you pick me up from the beach?
Right. Yeah, I'm going to stay at Jenny's tonight. Don't worry about me. I'm fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super fun. And what that feels so old-timey now that you would like leave a little 10-second message. I just love that.
When do you see yourself giving phones to your children?
I mean, honestly, never. Never. As I mentioned, the closer that we are to the robot revolution, I am racing to the prairie, as I often say. It feels like we're getting to Wall-E. You know what I mean? We're getting to be full Wall-E.
I'm definitely someone that looks at their phone 8.5 hours a day is definitely on the Wall-E train.
You're on the Wall-E train.
I'm like that jelly body just floating in a chair by the pool.
It just feels astounding. I don't know. And I know how addictive. I mean, obviously, like, you can see how you can get sucked in. And that's why I don't have TikTok. I don't think I'm, like, immune to it. I know if I had TikTok, I would be like, my children would be banging on the door being like, we're hungry, feed us. And I'd be like, no,
get out of here.
I'm looking at a new dance.
I'm learning to dance, kids. Which I got to say, TikTok is just not the TikTok that it was when I got into it like 3 years ago.
Really?
It used to be all fun dances and this and that. There's so many ads now, and it's corporate taking over and celebrity taking over. But I still scroll through it and I still watch it looking for those few videos that are funny.
Now it's ads for tote bags. You mentioned when you came in that you bought a tote bag that you were advertised on TikTok.
TikTok was doing a hard push on selling goods and competing against Amazon. So they were like, you would just get relentless.
Wait, this isn't a TikTok brand tote.
I don't know how it works. All I know is there's a million TikToks for each item they try to sell, but they just like normal people trying to sell. Like, oh man, I got this cool bag and there's a coupon and you can get it for 5 cents.
It feels so crazy. Instagram, I don't see anybody I know on Instagram. Anybody in my feed is like, no, it's all strangers talking about their new vitamin or their new whatever, their new tote bag. It feels like Home Shopping Network. Like all day long, you're just watching Home Shopping Network.
I see almost no friends in Facebook, and I joined some stupid group called like Taylor Swift buy and sell group. And so I just...
Is this on Facebook?
Yes. I'm inundated with like, I got this record to sell, or no, actually almost all of them. None of them want to sell anything. They want to trade it. So like, I have this rare record. I'm willing to trade for this. I'm not selling it. So don't ask me if I'll sell it. I'm only trading and blah, 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 blah.
Oh God. It's just...
And then I realized they're all like 15-year-old girls. And I'm just this old man laying in bed like, maybe I want to trade something for that record. I just won't let her see my face.
I joined a Facebook group that was suggested to me. You know, they pop up, they're like, are you interested in this? And I do like groups on, like I'm a member, like some mom groups on Facebook, and I find that really helpful. I bought a trampoline used, like things like that. Very helpful.
A trampoline?
Like a little small trampoline for the kids. And stuff like that is good if you have kids to like buy yourself stuff. A group popped up to me, was like, do you want to join this private community? For people who go on Carnival cruises. And I was like,
that's niche.
I don't know why, but I have to join.
You joined it?
So I joined. You have to like join, and then you have to say, like, they ask you questions there, like, are you planning a cruise? Have you been on a cruise? Like, which cruise? And I was like,
Tom Cruise.
I was like, I'm not going on a cruise. I don't have any planned. And they let me join the group. And now like my whole Facebook feed is people saying like, I bought the drink package. Do you think that includes mimosas at breakfast? Or like, what cabin doesn't have the view of the lifeboats? It's like all questions for people who go on Carnival cruises. And it's just so funny that now like I feel compelled to kind of check this website that to me is now just like cruise talk.
Oh my God. I love that they're such a specific group.
Oh yeah.
But that you can be like, I'm not going on a cruise. I don't like cruises. I've never been on a cruise. And they're like, yeah, she sounds like someone that we would like.
I hate the idea of a cruise. I will never set foot on a cruise. The expansiveness of the ocean, I want nothing to do with it. But somehow the people who make cruising like their lifestyle, I feel like I'm like spying on like a little group that like doesn't know I'm there. It's like tapping into my little like Harriet the Spy kind of vibe. So that might be fun. You know, listeners out there, join some Facebook groups that are private that you have no interest in and just peep.
I'm in. Just have a little peep.
Have a little peep show.
I'm in the Trader Joe's Facebook group for busy moms.
Oh, yes. You do pop up there quite a bit.
I'm not that busy, and I'm definitely not a mom. But I've been in that group for like 2 years, and it's always like meals for busy moms. with ingredients you can buy from Trader Joe's.
Yes. Yeah. Or like this new snack. My kids love this in their lunch. Or like the new felt garland.
Oh my God, I know. And then people, I'm the one that'll post like the felt garden. I'm like, I know this isn't a meal, but I thought you might like this felt garden. Like, oh my God, it's so cute. And then it's just like all this boring back and forth of like, what part of the country are you in and blah, blah, blah. And then there was like this period where like people would post like, made this meal, and someone would almost guaranteed write, that kind of looks like dog poop. And then like, so then we all got yelled at by the administrators, like, be nice to like the meals that people make. We're here to be like a safe environment.
We're all busy moms just trying to get a 5-ingredient or less meal on the table.
Yeah, they're like, I use canned garbanzo beans and a box of gravy. And everyone's like, that looks disgusting. They're like, it's heaven. So I love being with the moms.
That's the good thing about the internet. You can find your people.
Yeah.
The bad thing is 8 hours of your life.
Okay, it's not all that. I do listen to a lot of music from my phone. I wonder if that counts.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, well, we'll figure it out. Oh my God. So this is the first time we're recording 2 episodes of the podcast back to back. We've never done that. We just recorded Lego, rolled right into Polaroid.
If we seem a little loopy, perhaps that's why.
Yeah. I'm drinking 45 ounces of something called a pink drink with freeze-dried strawberries in it. And I had a shot of espresso, I think you made me, a latte. I'm sweating. As you know, I like to do Easter eggs for my show.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone else cares. Actually, I know one person was like, I was looking for the Easter egg. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get an Easter egg for Polaroid into her episode because I didn't have time to really, I didn't know what you were doing or anything.
Did you have an Easter egg in Lego?
I did, because you gave me this minifigure and he's holding a camera.
Oh,
and
yes.
I said, oh, it looks like the Land camera, which is the name of the first Polaroid camera, which we're going to get to in a minute.
Wow.
So I was still able to do my Easter egg in your show. I'm brilliant. Thank you very much.
How perfect. Your little minifig had a camera.
We had already talked, if you go back and listen, we had already talked about the minifig and I had put him away. And I was like, oh, I should use that camera.
Oh my
I
gosh.
took him back out. And I was like, it's so funny. This camera looks like the Land camera.
That's
You didn't even know what
hilarious.
that meant.
No, I'm excited to learn.
Yeah. So Polaroid, you're just learning that's what the brand is. Thoughts? Does it relate to your life in any way? Did you ever have a Polaroid?
Yeah, I do have a Polaroid camera. I find them to be quite fun. Feels like something maybe you put on a table at a wedding. Maybe people could snap a little picture for a guest book, things like that. I know that it doesn't actually help it develop faster to shake it, which I'm sure you'll get into.
That's one of the last notes I made. Don't shake the Polaroid.
Don't shake the Polaroid.
Actually can hurt the photo rarely, but it can. You're
yeah.
dealing with a liquid inside of it. So.
Wow. Polaroid is one of that, honestly, any camera, like Old West with the big flash bulb that goes off. How on earth did anybody figure this out?
It's one of those things that I'm so grateful. We've talked about this before.
That we're not the smartest people in the world?
That everyone doesn't just have the same intelligence and
Yes.
that intelligence is my intelligence.
Thank God.
Because we would just be drawing pictures of stick figures. It wouldn't even be on paper because I wouldn't know how to pulp a tree.
We
and
are
make
miles away from paper, you and me.
papyrus. I'd be drawing with my finger in the sand and be like, there's your picture, figure out a frame. Yeah, I don't know how people do it. This guy, Edwin Land, who I mentioned in the beginning, I kind of gave you the quick version of the entire story.
Very fun.
Thank you. In the open.
I can see Matt Damon now at the department store doing the demo.
He's playing Edwin Land or he's playing the Polaroid camera. Zzz, and a picture comes out of his stomach.
Very
Matt Damon
Teletubbies.
is an Instamatic camera. Boston Globe described Polaroid, Al, you'll help me, I always say this word wrong, a juggernaut. Is that right?
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut. Like not like
We're gonna
nautical.
We're gonna have to accumulate a running list of the words that you have trouble
Yeah, Al, I
saying.
can't say this word.
Arugula, John. Arugula.
I know how to say that. It's a peppery lettuce. And that, you know what bothers me about arugula?
What?
That's all anyone ever says about it. The one word. You watch. From now on, you'll never be able to not hear it. Putting a little arugula in there for a little bit of peppery taste. We know.
get it. It's peppery.
We get it. It's peppery. Find another adjective for it.
You have a beef with so many things. You have a beef with arugula.
I don't have a beef with arugula. I love it, arugula. It's like a peppery lettuce. How could you not love it? I just wish we found other ways to describe it. I feel like I saw Julia Child describe it as peppery in like the 70s, and that's what everyone's called it.
We need an
since then.
updated term. Come on, Gen Z, get on it.
Yeah, just say spicy. Anything different. Boston Globe. The Boston Globe referred to Polaroid as being a juggernaut of innovation and described Edwin Land as Steve Jobs-esque of that time. He was kind of like a crazy scientist who really figured a lot of things out. So he's a neat guy who ran Polaroid for 40 years, and we'll learn all about him.
It sounds cool.
Sounds cool.
He sounds like a cool guy. Bottoms up. John's having a sip of his 42 ounces of coconut milk.
So I'm drinking this pink drink. I don't know if you've had this before. I do feel like I'm a little like high.
Uh-huh.
I'm drinking this pink
Probably
drink.
a lot of sugar.
It's a decent amount. I looked it up.
Al. Al uses Google only to
No,
shame you.
I don't want you to look it up. It's 50 grams or something. Because I got a Trenta. It's like
Oh
the
my
biggest. It's like a
God.
2-liter.
Wow. John, by the numbers, screen time, 8 hours, grams of sugar, 50. This is John.
Podcast followers, 1,200. So if you haven't had this pink drink, it's like a coconut milk refresher strawberry thing, but they dump in a bunch of dehydrated strawberries, which you love as a snack. They're crunchy. I'm a very slow drinker. Those strawberries turn into like slugs over the course of like 2 hours. So every time I take a sip, I'm like sucking a slug through that little
Sippy cup
the
top.
sippy hole. Yeah.
Yeah, you do need some scissors to widen that opening.
No, I kind of like it when they get stuck. I have to give it a hard suck. I'm not going to lie.
A little game for you.
On brand.
That's very on brand for you, sipping a little slug through a hole.
Okay, so here we are, 1929, 1932. Edwin H. Land is studying at Harvard. His big focus is on...
Oh, this is perfect for Matt Damon, a Boston boy.
Oh, he would be perfect for this. I picture him in like an Argyle sweater vest, cute little hat maybe, dating. Well, we don't have to go too far into it. So his big focus is on synthetic polarizers. I've read a lot about these. I still don't totally understand what polarization is.
What is it even close to?
It's like, oh God, I don't know. It's very confusing, and I feel like I'm failing.
Is it a physical object?
It's like, okay, so here's a sentence that I think makes sense. He started Polaroid in 1937, which got its start by grafting his polarizer technology onto all kinds of products. So he would put it on like sunglasses.
Oh, polarized sunglasses.
Yeah, like on filters. Kodak was a big client of his. They would use polarizing. I think it's like, so I saw like someone was like, this is why you need polarized glasses. And they were looking at a creek and all you could see was like the reflection of the sky. And then he put on the polarizing sunglasses and then you couldn't see the sky anymore. And you could see that there was an alligator right there.
So it could save your life.
And he's like, this is why polarization is important.
That's why I never wade through a river without my polarized sunglasses.
There is no way I would survive an alligator. Like, I see those things, like people like run away from them or whatever, or grab them by the snout. I can't do that.
I don't want to see you try to grab an alligator by the snout.
No, so I don't either. Okay, so 1937, he starts Polaroid. Like I said, he's using his technology for car headlights to reduce accidents, on ski goggles and sunglasses. Kodak is a big client of his. Their net sales in their first year was $141,000, which in today money is a little over $3 million.
Wow.
Successful right off the bat. 1941, 45, we've got World War II coming in. You know, for a lot of our people, that either affects their supply chains or having to pivot on what they're doing because the materials they're able to use. He actually gets a contract from the National Defense Research Committee because of his polarizing technology. And he actually mobilizes the company's entire workforce for the war effort. Polaroid basically helped define the war strategy with all of its polarizing filters. They use them for periscopes, for gun sights, binoculars, goggles, infrared night vision. Like,
no crocodile is safe.
all crocodiles are seen and destroyed.
So a lot of people don't know World War II is actually the war on crocodiles.
A lot of people don't know that. That's why we're here today. The Great War of the Croc.
Did you say alligator originally? I'll be honest.
You don't know the difference?
I don't know the difference.
Here's what I know.
Okay.
One lives in water, one on land, I think, right?
That can't be true.
I think it's like the same with, Jill's going to get mad at me, turtles and tortoises.
Tortoises
one
live
lives
in
in land,
land.
one lives in water, I think.
That's not true for alligators and crocodiles.
I thought it was saltwater, freshwater.
I thought it was trees, beaches. I don't know. We'll look it up. I don't like to look dumb on the pod.
You think they're going to take your Emmy?
Okay, so 1941, they have this big contract with the war. Their annual sales in the beginning of the war in 1941 are $1 million, which is $21 million. Now,
Wow.
by the end of the war, their sales are $16 million, $291 million today. I mean, this company's only been around for like 6 years, and they're bringing in almost $300 million.
They're putting polarization on everything.
Yes, but the war ends. So does the free flow of money.
Interesting.
So he has to pivot and figure out, what are we going to do now that the war has ended? If you heard the beginning of the cold open, I said something about your daughter asking you a question.
Yeah.
So Edwin
What would that
Land
be?
is on vacation. He's taking all these pictures of his 3-year-old daughter. She's like, Dad, can I see the pictures? And he's like, well, in a couple of weeks you can, because we got to send it out. We got to get it processed. And he's like, why can't I see these pictures right now? There must be a way.
Wow, that's very Steve Jobs-esque to have an unanswerable question, then just to say like, we have to figure it out.
And to have like a team of people that can help you figure it out.
For sure.
He's instantly like, yeah, let's see if we can do this. Like I said, takes it back to Polaroid.
I mean, the amount of dumb things that my children ask me that I offer no further exploration of.
Like what?
I mean, every night I'm answering a question about what if a raccoon is in my bed.
Well, you guys have a lot of raccoons on the property.
I know, but I'm not like them taking to my team, like, what can we do if a raccoon is in my son's bed? Like, we must come up with a device or a system.
Just go to sleep, dear.
Just go to sleep, honey.
You won't remember in the morning.
Give him a little nip of Benadryl,
Pull
knock
the
him right
door
out.
shut and then go watch Survivor.
The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.
Well, yeah, luckily he is not like us. So they spend 5 years. He has to figure out basically, how do you have a camera, a dark room, the chemicals, the processing, all in one little portable box.
It's a great question. I would be like, it's impossible, and I just go to bed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like, you know what? In 5 years, I'll have it for you. So 1947, he's able to demonstrate their first attempt at this photography paper at the Optical Society of America in New York. And basically, the way it works is instant photography basically packs all the operation of a darkroom inside of the film sheet and the camera body itself. The film sheet has to catch light from a camera lens, turn it into a negative image, then reverse the image and make a positive one. And you have to start it at just the right time and end it at just the right time to make sure that the image lasts. So I know now we picture Polaroid cameras. Some people may not even know what it is that are listening to this, though it has had a resurgence, and we'll get to that now. But my whole life, a Polaroid camera, you take the picture and it like zzz and came out, and you had a picture, and you shook it and you had your picture. For the first 25 years of this, they would take the picture, but you kind of you had to time when you thought it was done. It gave you instructions.
Wow.
And then you would get the paper and you had to peel the piece of paper off of it. It wasn't quite as
self-contained or whatever. Oh, interesting.
It was self-contained, but it didn't complete the task for you. There was
yeah.
still some user accountability in it.
Interesting.
So anyway, they knew that going into it. 1948, it's Friday. It's the day after Thanksgiving. Polaroid introduces the Polaroid Land camera. That was my Easter egg in your last episode. It was named after him, which is funny. I never knew that. I've seen the term land camera forever. I literally I thought that meant you just took pictures on land. You don't use it for underwater or anything like that. It never occurred to me that was because of his.
That's why we are not the innovators.
Yeah. Well, and he's also not one of those names that you just know. He ran this company for 40 years, but I wasn't even familiar with his name going into this.
He's a low-key guy.
Kind of a low-key guy. He introduces the Land camera Model 95 to the public. And he has a lot writing on this. Since the war it ended, he'd had to lay off hundreds of people. He had put his team on this. There was a lot invested, a lot of time and money invested on this thing working. He brought in like this really good salesman and marketing guy to help like do the demonstration. People lost their minds over this thing.
I can't imagine. It must have just seemed like such a crazy magic trick.
Yeah, I looked up like newspaper articles of people that were there from like 1937.
Were they like fainting and like...
Basically, I mean, no, but yes, they're like, I mean, you think about it now, we take photography so for granted. I grew up like where you would go get your pictures developed and you would take a roll of pictures. You would decide, am I going to buy 24 or 36 pictures?
Mm-hmm.
That's how many you were able to take. You didn't know if they were any good until you went and sent them off and got them developed.
Sometimes you get doubles and then you're like, that roll is all crap.
I will say in college when I took photography, I got really interested in sandwiching negatives and creating neat images with layered negatives.
Very cool.
And did very well with that. Not to toot my own
I would
horn,
love to see some of those images.
I have some still. They're great. Oh, and just for a fun fact, this is 1948, the day after Thanksgiving. This is like a month after the first In-N-Out opened. Like we're in the exact same time period.
Imagine. What a month.
What a month for America. In California, you got the first In-N-Out Shack opening. In New York, you got the introduction of the Polaroid camera.
Coast to coast, America will never be the same.
Everyone in the middle, they had nothing going on. It was cold.
It's winter.
Yeah, it was winter.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the coast, a lot going on.
Wow, that's huge.
The camera was introduced at $89.75. That's about $1,100 today. It was leather bound. It was definitely considered a high end. But it is kind of like, you think about it, it's like an iPad or
that's true.
Kind of a low end laptop. Like $1,100 today it's expensive, but you get a good laptop and you're like $2,000 in. But the demonstration was a huge success. They sold out. They only brought 56 cameras. They didn't think that they would sell those out. They sold those out immediately.
Wow.
And when you would buy the camera, like Polaroid was really good at their customer service. They would send you a letter welcoming you to like the Polaroid family.
Love that.
They would give you like instruction booklets for it. And they were very good. Like they understood the reach that this kind of camera could have. So they would market it in so many different ways. They would encourage you to use it for family portraits, for vacation scenes, which is where the idea originally came from, for using it at parties and weddings and birthdays and anniversaries and all the places we use cameras now that wasn't so easily accessible to them then, but then to also use it in professional applications, like for insurance reasons and real estate and journalism and yada, yada, medical things, like just they're kind of unlimited use for it.
It's good if you want to like take a picture of your butt or something. You don't want anybody to see it when they're developing it.
They had that in the instruction manual. They're like great for butt shots.
If you're ashamed to have like the woman working at your local 1 hour photo, like see that you're taking pictures of your butt.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really good use for Polaroid.
It was like 4 pounds. You're like holding this like big 4 pounds. It's like a bag of sugar that you're holding like behind your back, just trying to get a bum shot.
Yeah, you're going to pull a tricep or something, but it's worth it.
Then there's a whole niche, like people that have fetishes of like blurry Polaroid bum shots. The dark web of the 40s. I kind of touched a little bit on the drawbacks of it. It required a complex procedures to take and produce really good photographs. The photographic paper had to be manually removed from the paper and peeled off after 60 seconds. It needed several minutes to dry, and it would leave chemicals and stuff on your hands. So it wasn't perfect out of the gate. And like I said, it wasn't until 1972 that we get that first, like, you take the picture and it comes out, which was such a satisfying thing.
What an iconic sound. Is there like a library, like a museum of sounds?
The Museum of Sound. Shh. That's not an exhibit.
No,
sir.
you know
That's
what it
just
is?
the traffic outside.
You could go in. It's like an empty room, and there's like a bunch of headphones, and you can go and you can listen. You like push a button, and you like listen to like an iconic sound, and that would be one of them. Feel free to use that if anybody has a museum space they're looking to renovate.
Yeah, you don't even need much space either.
No.
You could really just have a small room.
A tiny iPod shuffle.
That's the first thing I thought of is like, you need several iPods. And I was like, iPods? No one uses iPods anymore. But you could probably get them cheap. Listen, we're derailed. The other great thing for Polaroid when they introduced this camera is not only are you selling a high-end product for $1,100, you're selling a high-end product that a lot of people want that also involves a consumable, the film. You can only use their Polaroid film.
I don't know if it was then, but the film now is not cheap.
It wasn't then either. It was about $1 for a pack, which is like $10 today. I feel like when I used it, I feel like it would average about $1 a picture.
Yeah, that's I feel like what it is now too.
Yeah, and I feel like it was then because I think it was like $1, so it's like $11, but you got 8 pictures. So I feel like the price points have been about the same, but that's just kind of like unlimited money coming in outside of the initial purchase of the camera. This was a fun fact that I had no idea of this. Polaroid gave customers the option to send their prints back to the company to send the Polaroid if they wanted additional copies of it or enlargements, or Polaroid would even make a negative for you.
Wow.
Which that definitely went away over time.
Definitely.
Or maybe it didn't. Maybe that was in like the back of my thing and I just never knew that that was an option. But I thought that that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, that is crazy. Wow. Very generous. So they really wanted it to be like you were part of a club.
Well, I don't think they did it for free. I'm sure that it came with some sort of fee.
But maybe it's like they wanted it to be like a community. Like this is your community of photographers. Like you're taking your photography seriously if you're getting this $1,100 camera.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there'd be like a Facebook group for it.
Of like angry moms, and you send a picture and they'd be like, that looks like shit. Like, but I just wanted
I'm sure there's a Polaroid photography Facebook group. There might be like 10,000 of them.
Like I was saying, I was reading articles about people who were at this demonstration or some of these early demonstrations because they would go on to do that at different department stores. And the biggest thing at the time, which had never happened before, is you would take a picture and you would have it right then. You would have the picture of the moment that was so important to you to take a picture at that moment. Mm-hmm. You could decide right then if you thought your picture was good enough, or if you want to try to take another one, or do you want to take 2 of a similar picture so each of you and whoever can have one? Like
your butt crack didn't look good from that angle.
Go on.
Maybe try the left cheek instead of the right.
Right. Mm-hmm. You could get
straight on, no good. Need a little bit of a sneaking around from the side.
That's how the phrase "down the crack" came to be. I don't know.
Have you ever photographed your own butt?
No. I have such a sad butt. It's so flat and sad.
I'm dying to see it.
Babe, we've talked about this on the pod.
Well, I didn't know if you've ever photographed it. How do you know it's sad?
I've done this. I've done one of these.
A little peek behind.
I've caught a glimpse.
You don't have a full-length mirror, I don't think.
No, it's a sad little flat bum.
I'll tell you how it is. Come on.
What is wrong with you?
Sneak a peek.
We're talking about one of the most iconic brands in photography, and you're obsessed with my butt. So from the beginning, something that was very important to Polaroid was working with artists. Mm-hmm. The way that came to be was, are you familiar with Ansel Adams?
Yes.
Very famous landscape photographer. Mm-hmm. He actually was so blown away by this invention that Edwin Land was doing and where he was taking photography that he reached out to him and was like, listen, you should let me work with like your new technologies and your new inventions. I'll go out and take pictures. I will give them back to you. I'll give you my feedback, and I can kind of be a brand consultant for you.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that became a relationship that would last for the rest of Edwin Land's life.
Wow. That's very you to try to get some like free film.
100%.
How about we partner up? You know what I mean? Like you give me free cameras and free film, and then I'll take pictures, and then I'll like, let you know how it worked.
Yeah, it's very on brand for me. The great thing that Ansel Adams did is that he didn't want to be the only person to do that. He encouraged Land to make relationships with any big photographers of the day and do the same sort of thing. Like, what better way to test out your products than to put them in the hands of the people that can make the most use for them? Even though Polaroid was kind of to give photography to the everyman.
Yeah.
It also, over the next 40 years, it became a very big thing with Andy Warhol, which we'll talk about, another artist. It became much bigger than probably Land thought it even could.
These were like the original influencers.
That's exactly what I was thinking when I was putting that together.
Yeah.
It really was.
It's like, let's find people who can like use your product, and then we'll kind of be like brand ambassadors for Polaroid.
Yeah, except it was like, wow, this iconic photographer uses this. I guess I'll use this too. And now it's like, okay, this weird loud lady uses this. I guess I'll use that also.
This weird loud lady is yelling at me about this tote bag. I guess I have to buy it.
She says there's a coupon. I guess I'll do what the weird loud lady says I should do and buy that tote bag.
It works.
So Polaroid began these relationships with artists. They would regularly provide them with cameras and free film and studio space. And what they would say to them is, listen, go have a ball. When you're finished, please give us a few of the prints, which we will include in our collection. And that's all that they're asking for. And nobody had a problem with that. As I said in the cold open, they ended up growing this insane photography collection that grew to have 16,000 prints in it. It had work from people like Ansel Adams, obviously, Mary Ellen Marks, Robert Mapplethorpe, Andy Warhol, Keith Haring, and the list just goes on and on.
Wow.
Andy Warhol, who you know is one of my all-time favorite artists. I feel lucky when I'm in the presence of any of his work. I don't know what the connection is with him. I just love him. He became really involved with using Polaroids. He started to use a camera that they made that was called the Polaroid Big Shot camera. And this was a camera that they had designed
For people with really big butts.
Go on.
Wide angle lens.
Right.
Capture both of those cheeks, no matter the size.
Depth of field.
Depth of field, exactly.
There's some keywords for you.
Thank you.
Alistair's lost his mind. That's why we can't do two shows back to back. The Polaroid Big Shot was designed especially for taking flattering portrait shots.
Okay, we know what that means.
Yes, of the face. Beautiful face shots. So Andy would take, we all know, I talked about the Marilyn Monroe in the last episode. He would take Polaroids of these people, and then that would be what he would use to create their iconic portraits. Well, they only produced this camera for a couple of years, but because he was so reliant on it, Polaroid maintained his existing cameras and stored a supply of replacement cameras for him just in case he would ever need them in the future. That's how important it was for them, for him to be happy with what he was using.
That's very
That
cool.
gave the camera such a seal of approval in the artistic world and became part of like pop culture lore that photographers even today seek out that specific camera just because he made it so iconic.
How much are those going for now?
Al, how much are those going for?
How much are those going for now, Al?
Early 70s, $45.
$45?
There's no way.
There's no way.
$40.
That's like 3 frappuccinos.
I thought it was going to be like $1,200.
You might be able to get this for the archive.
I need a big boy camera.
For that ass?
So Polaroid, from when they launched this thing, and there was a bunch of different cameras that came out. I'm not going to go into every camera that they released over the decades, but it was really the heyday of the instant camera, and what they were doing was from like 1948 when they introduced that first Land camera through the mid to late 70s. In 1976, Kodak, another iconic, huge brand, which...
Are they rivals?
Well, it's one of those things. It is kind of like Apple and Microsoft, like, because in the beginning, Polaroid was making this product and Kodak was their client, but then Polaroid branched off and made these cameras, and then eventually Kodak made very similar cameras. So then they're like, wait, those patents are ours. So it gets muddled with those big companies because they're competitors, but they also need each other. So Kodak comes out with this line of...
Sure, Ben Affleck can play the CEO of Kodak.
Yeah,
that'll be
Ben
fun.
Affleck is definitely Kodak.
They like being on set together, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. They'll have fun.
Reunited because of us, because of little old us.
Those boys will have a good time.
The director's cut, Matt Damon, and they're just each taking pictures of their bones. It's like a gay love story.
I love that.
So like I said, in 1976, Kodak came out with their own version of an instant film camera. Polaroid filed a suit against them. They go to court. Polaroid wants $12 billion in damages from Kodak.
Wow.
The case goes on for about 10 years. They end up getting a little over $900 million for it, which is still a very significant amount of money.
Yeah, that's definitely not nothing.
1977 is really kind of about the peak of Polaroid. Apparently, they threw a big party to celebrate the 30th anniversary of instant photography.
Oh, I bet that was a who's who.
They spent $100,000 on this party.
Wow.
At that time, they held 2/3 of the instant camera market, and that year sold more than 6 million cameras. So it really was kind of like the peak. So then the 80s come along, and I learned a new term researching this. Are you familiar with the term success trap?
No.
I wasn't either. I thought it was just how they were describing it, but it's an actual
It's a term, like a business
term in business.
All right.
I feel like when I discover things like this, like people listening are like, yeah, John, it's a success trap. We all know that.
We all went to business school?
Yeah. We're all smart. Go to bed. A success trap is where a business rests on their laurels and focuses only on the exploitation of their historical successful current business activities.
Interesting.
They don't explore new ideas or products. So
this is like why Oreo comes out with like 600 new flavors every year.
Honestly, and this is why Lego attempted a bunch of different things. Even if you end up circling back to what made you, they had to try those things. And that's what I was going to say a minute ago about Kodak and Polaroid. I remember when Kodak filed for bankruptcy in like the 90s or 2000s. And I was like, how is it possible that Eastman Kodak is filing for bankruptcy? Like, how could a brand that had been around so long not navigate into this digital world? And that's what was happening. In the 80s, you start to see an influx of like point and shoot cameras. Those are all the rage. Even though you have to get film developed, getting film developed wasn't as big of a deal anymore. I don't know if you remember these, or they had these in California. Actually, I do know because there's one down the street. It's now a cigarette shop. But you could go into, like in Ohio.
The little kiosk.
You could drive in like the parking lot of Kroger, and there's a little Kodak kiosk, and you just pull up and give them your film and come back the next day or 2 days later and get your pictures. And then, you know, in the 90s, that even got it more advanced. You go to like CVS and it's like hour drop off, and Target hat. You get all your pictures developed in that. So instant cameras weren't as important by that time.
And it was probably cheaper to get film developed than it would be to $1 a pop. I mean, that's like, that's pricey.
It was,
You can't bring that on your vacation. It'll cost hundreds.
Yeah, thousands.
Millions, dare
You're not
I
going
say.
on a cruise. You've spent all your money on Polaroids.
That drink package is like $1,100 a pop.
Don't get me started on that drink package.
Apparently, you have to drink at least 7 drinks a day to justify the cost of the drink package. If, like anything less than 7, they say you're better off just buying your drinks out of pocket.
Now, see, I like a challenge, so I feel like I would pack a bunch of like empty 2 liters. So each day would represent just a mismatch of 7 drinks that I pour into a 2-liter and take home with me.
After like the 4-day cruise, you have a full carry-on just full of like liquids. We called them suicides as a kid. There's just like lemonade, iced tea, soda, Diet Coke, root beer, orange juice.
God, I was never that kid. You see like a kid go to like a fountain machine and they're like, shh.
You never did that?
It wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
You're
such a like so brand pure that you were like, I don't want to mess with the original recipe. Coca-Cola surely can make a better drink than I.
Yeah, they have figured it out. Why would I do it? I even get a little like hesitant at those Coca-Cola.
The freestyles?
The freestyles where they're like.
At the movie theater?
Yeah, because I like normal Diet Coke, but at those freestyles you can get like orange Diet Coke, grape Diet Coke, strawberry.
You want a little lemon.
Yeah. And I usually don't experiment.
You know, any place like that where like the recipe menu model is like make your own, I always feel like I do a terrible job. We've talked about this a little bit with like salad bars, but any place where it's like, oh, design your own bowl, design your own pizza, your own salad. I'm like, I don't know, ranch dressing and grapes. Like it just becomes like, I don't know. I get
completely stupid with like just normal ingredients.
Yes. I'm like,
I don't need a crust. Just put them in my hand and stick my hand in the oven.
It's like you guys, you come up with a recipe. That's what I'm paying for.
Yeah.
Don't make me also like come up with a good salad.
On that note, this is not that, but I had forgotten that I was mad at Taco Bell.
Oh.
And now I remember. Okay, I have so many things going on right now before we get back to Kodak. One, Blaze Pizza, just to go with what you were saying. I go to Blaze Pizza, I get a cheese or a pepperoni pizza, we're done. The people in front of me, it's like, just give me a little bit of everything. There's like 75 toppings. They like make this thing. You can't even cook it. Like you put it in the oven. I don't know what you're doing.
It's more pot pie than anything at this point.
This is why people just can't be in charge of certain things.
So is it the same price no matter what toppings you get? So are people trying to kind of like say,
at Blaze, you can get the build your own, which is the highest price point, but it's like whatever.
But then so that everything fits, aren't you getting like 1 black olive, like 1 pepperoni?
I don't know because I don't do it.
Wow.
I don't know because I don't do it.
It's a thin crust, right?
Yeah, it's a good crust.
How can it sustain the weight?
I don't know because I don't do it.
How can it sustain?
Okay, Taco Bell. 3 days ago. I had to leave my house for a few hours in the morning. I was like, I'll go to Taco Bell and have breakfast Crunchwrap. I was like, I've only done this and eaten in Taco Bell once. I was like, you know what? I need to kill some time. I'll eat it in Taco Bell. I don't love to eat in a fast food restaurant.
It's kind of a bummer, yeah.
It's kind of depressing, but I was like, that's what I'm doing. I go in. There's nobody there. There's like 2 guys eating. No one else in this restaurant. 5 people working behind the counter. I stand there waiting for someone to like take my order. Lady comes over. She's like, oh, she's like, you order on that screen behind you.
No.
I didn't say anything. I didn't turn into a Karen. I turned around. I looked at that screen. And I was like, and I left. I was like,
You laughed.
I just left the store. I was like, I don't want to like find my item. You know what I did?
Unbelievable.
I got in my car. I went to the drive-thru.
Did she
I said,
recognize you?
yes. And she gave me a look like, he figured it out. He figured out how to make me do it. I was like, one breakfast crunch wrap, please.
Oh my God.
I don't want to do it.
I don't work here.
This is how I do understand how you and Christine are with
The self-checkout? Okay.
Sprinkles started this. Like Sprinkles cupcakes here in LA, you also don't go to the window anymore. You stand outside with an iPad, have to find your item and order it while the people that work there are just watching you, waiting for the order to come into the room.
I would think you would actually like the self-ordering thing because you often have a lot of modifications. And doesn't it make it easy to like modify if you're doing like
It
plus
does.
extra cheese, plus extra sauce, whatever?
You know me so well, and that's why I love doing this show with you. I do love modifications, and I
Yes.
like to do it on the app when I'm laying in bed before I leave to go pick up the food. I like to spend a half an hour, like maybe I want more of this, maybe I don't, and create it, send it, and then go pick it up.
But you don't like having to do it there,
If
standing
I'm
at the
there
iPad.
and you're just standing there waiting for me to do this, no.
I completely agree.
Thank you. 1991, Edwin Land dies.
Oh
He died.
no. How?
He was old. I mean,
Oh,
it,
old.
was not, it
Classic
wasn't
old.
like from chemicals. He was accidentally processed.
Oh, okay, good.
No, he passes away, unfortunately. He had run the company for 40 years. When he passed away, he had 500 patents in his name.
Not bad.
So this guy, I don't know why we don't know his name, Edwin Land. It doesn't
Land.
really like, there's something about it. Like, because, you know, like in shows like this, you say their last name a lot. Even when I
Land,
say
yeah.
Land, it doesn't feel like I'm talking about it. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe that's why he's not remembered so well, because his name's a little, I don't know. But Edwin Land.
Yeah, somebody needs to give him, like, put him in the Hollywood showbiz new name machine.
Yeah, put him in the Hollywood Showbiz new name machine and get back to us with what his
Yeah.
new name should be.
Ed Landon.
Oh, I
Ed
really like
Landon?
Landon. There's a little area in Cincinnati called Landon. that I
Okay.
used to
Eddie
live in.
Landon? Oh, wow.
Eddie Landon. Matt
Starring
Damon is
Eddie
Landon. You thought you knew what taking a picture was all about. Ooh, instant gratification. That's what the one would be called between when it's
Ooh.
like the gay butt story.
I love
I
that.
do too.
That part of the movie has a name.
That's like a spin-off, either
Okay.
movie or series. Like
Okay,
a
great.
3-part gay love story between Matt Damon and Ben Affleck where they
Perfect.
send each other butt pictures.
Fantastic.
Are you like writing fan fiction for a movie that doesn't exist yet?
I think you might be.
Maybe. I never thought, if you had told me when we started this pod, I would eventually write Polaroid fan fiction, I would have told you you're crazy.
I mean, that does seem like a steamy relationship, a rivalry turned romantic. Where have we seen that before? You've Got Mail.
You've got, oh God, how good is You've Got Mail?
God, it's so good.
Oh, a still pretty Meg Ryan.
Oh, stunning.
So Polaroid enters the 90s without its founder and with all this new technology coming along. Like I said, you had point and shoot cameras, you had digital photography hitting the scene. They attempted to make up ground by expanding into other markets, but they were just kind of like stretching themselves thin, and they never really gained a foothold on any of those markets. I will say bankruptcy is to Polaroid as fires were to Lego.
Oh, wow.
2001, their first bankruptcy. Their initial run is over. 2008, they have another bankruptcy. And in that
man.
bankruptcy, as part of the conditions of it to regain some of their money, is when they were told they had to sell pieces of that photography collection. Some of the artists that had donated images to that collection were kind of upset about it because they had given it to this as an in perpetuity sort of thing. We're giving it to
Yeah.
this collection. This is where it should stay. but they did sell off a good chunk of it. Sotheby's did, made $12.5 million on the sale of that because they're selling, photographs. Never really before seen photographs or images that weren't, part of like
There's not like public
an
display
artist
of them.
like Canon, really.
A lot of butts. Ansel Adams' ass hunched over a bathtub.
Warhol probably did have a couple of butts.
I'm sure he loved buns.
He likes self-portraits more, though. I don't think anyone likes buns quite as much as you. Except old gay men. They're the only other people that I know that say buns.
It's a good club to be in. Join us.
Which? The Buns Club?
Yeah, the Buns Club.
Oh, there's your movie.
The Buns Club?
Okay, Matt Damon. He's
Okay.
All right, so 2000s come and the Polaroid, so they've done bankruptcy, but they've still managed to kind of like hang on a little bit. At this point in the 2000s, they're kind of just using their name for licensing. So they're like, there's Polaroid printers, there's Polaroid digital frames, but they're licensing their name out on products.
I love those stripes.
Oh, the rainbow stripes?
Yeah, the rainbow stripes.
I do too.
Iconic.
So
I bet they probably like put those on like a hat or something.
Yeah, put them on
socks.
a hat. You start seeing like Polaroid shirts at like Target.
Yeah.
They're part of like that vintage brand aged thing. 2007, they ceased production of the Polaroid cameras.
Shocking.
2008, they ceased production of Polaroid film.
Tragic.
Well, don't be too sad because that was short-lived because there was this dedicated group of instant photography fans. They called themselves the Impossible Project, and they saved the last Polaroid factory in the Netherlands.
Wow.
Yeah. So this was in 2008. Over the 15, 16 years, they've changed names and leadership and all of that, but their whole thing was like bringing Polaroid back in some way. They're not going to bring back all the cameras because a lot of the machinery doesn't exist anymore or it was dismantled. They could do the film. They brought Lady Gaga in 2010 to be the creative consultant and just to get like her fans and a younger group of people.
Interesting. That's funny because I think about that time, 2008. That almost feels like Urban Outfitters had a lot of Polaroid cameras.
That's when Impossible Project came in. So they were able to produce this film, and I remember that too. And I remember at the time people saying Lady Gaga bought Polaroid. That wasn't exactly the case, but she was kind of the face of Polaroid, and we love Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I found a new audience. Maybe it was kind of tapping into that like nostalgia of young people at that time because all the photos they do have that. That was when like Instagram, you would do a lot of filters and stuff to like make your photos look like they were taken on a Polaroid camera. So it was probably fun for, kids and teenagers and stuff to like take actual physical pictures that have that like retro look.
You're really hitting like all of my like final bullet
love
points.
that.
Like one, let's knock them out. You've got Instagram, Insta. It's basically named from the Instamatic camera.
Yeah.
Its first logo was that Land camera for 1948.
Oh,
It was that
yeah.
brown leather camera. So that was part of it. Polaroid was so like ingrained in like the pop culture of the world and especially America, like that look of having like the white border and like the thicker bottom, that was a filter on any camera app. So it was like something that was never going to go away. And what you had with like Gen Z was what they call like a love for retro tech or vintage tech. And it was kind of for what you were saying, like you've got a couple different things at play, I think. You've got Gen X. I don't know anyone. I'm not.
Yeah, what are you, alpha?
I'm whatever's after
14 and
Z.
under? Yeah, Gen Alpha.
So you have people like me who are Gen X and like we had this technology when we were young.
Yes.
Now we're in the digital age. We have nostalgia for it.
And Gen X, maybe when the Polaroid cameras came out when they were younger, they obviously couldn't afford them. And now they're adults. They have their own money. So they want to, get in on this thing that reminds them of their youth.
But then you also have Gen Z who I think are maybe wanting to emulate what their parents have, but then they also do live in this world where literally, like I was thinking about it, like money is digital, pictures are digital, mail, games, books, music, like you can have all of that stuff and never touch any of it.
Yeah, it's wild.
So vinyl records, as you know, I do collect those,
Yeah, we
and
know.
that is a tangible thing.
See Green Day CDs.
Oh man, I'm so glad I have two.
One to open and play with, and then the other one to keep mint.
Yeah, until he dies. Until Billy dies.
Deranged.
And then, yeah, it's the same thing with like vinyl records is with like photographs. It's like forcing them to like live in the moment and they're not like having to make this picture and like edit it on the spot and put it on social media for everyone to love. It's literally just like, this is a picture I'm taking of myself.
A private photo of your butt to keep in a shoebox next to your bed.
Babe, you need help. You need
We both do in different ways.
That is why we're
Wow.
friends. That is why we are friends. We are both broken souls with hearts of
Exactly.
gold.
We don't come to this podcast perfect. That's why they love us, all 1,200 of them.
And that kind of gets us through the story of Polaroid. It gets us to today in 2024. Polaroid is doing a collab. They're really into collabs now. There was like a Keith Haring Polaroid camera. In 2024, they're doing a collab with Pantone. So, yeah, and that's pretty much Polaroid. You can still find versions of the camera now. You can get film now. It's not, it'll never be as big as it was, but at least it still exists in some way. And if you have never played with one, find a way to. It's a really fun medium to use. You can manipulate the photos by scratching on them or pulling them apart or doing a lot of things. It's a neat thing to use.
Yeah, that's cool. And I like to think now that hopefully they will not be bankrupt ever again. They've like solidified their place just in like canon in American history where we'll never live in a world without Polaroid.
I hope so. I did read that one of the people that was with Impossible Group is now, he like left and opened a coffee shop. So I don't know if they're
might
like
be losing steam.
all of them are totally committed to it, but we'll see where it goes.
You might have to fill in. You might have to take a spot.
They're going to just be at the end of one of our podcasts, like fruit stripe gum. We're gonna be like,
Exactly.
well, today was the end of Polaroid. Well, that is the story of Polaroid. I hope that you learned something. I hope people listening are able to grab a few nuggets to share at their next party. That's all the knowledge I have on the subject.
Well, I have a brand news. We know you're a fan of two things.
If you say butts and pink drink, you're right.
Oreos.
I do like an Oreo.
And as we've learned, Pac-Man.
I do like Pac-Man.
Oreo is collaborating with Pac-Man for a special edition Pac-Man cookie. So in a pack of Oreos, 6 special Pac-Man cookies will be embossed with characters on the cookies, and you can scan them and play a special maze with 3 levels on your phone, and prizes can be won by entering a raffle on the brand's website. I mean, news like this,
That's a
what
lot.
are we doing?
So I have to scan a cookie?
You have to scan a cookie. I mean, there's
How
no
do
way
you
to say these words and not feel absolutely miserable.
How do you scan a cookie? And now I know I'm going to do it, and my screen time next week is going to skyrocket. Like if I were doing an Oreo Pac-Man collab, I would have yellow cookies, pink, blue. I would have cookies of all the colors. You would have random blue ghost in it, but they're just black cookies with a Pac-Man stamp on it. I don't get how I scan. Is there a QR code? Like,
is there anything
There's
that
nothing.
Oreo will say no to?
There's nothing. I still have an unopened pack of Lady Gaga Oreos.
Yeah, that's right.
They're like pink Oreos, I think, with green frosting.
Yeah, and I feel like, and a lot of times you get things like that. You're like, oh, I got this new special food, and I'm like, great, bring it over so we can try it. And you're like, that's for the storage unit.
Yeah, that's to save and for mice to eat, and then I'll find them in 20 years empty. I had Game of Thrones. I was so excited to get the Game of Thrones Oreos, and then the ending was so sad. I was like, these stupid Oreos.
Did you eat them?
I think I did eat one because I think I bought like 2 or 3.
2 or 3 packs of Game of Thrones Oreos?
Okay.
What's the plan?
We're not ending this on a judgment note. We celebrate our differences.
That's right. We celebrate brands. We get swept up in them. They bring us to tears. They bring us to our knees. We
Yeah,
love
what do you
them.
want? Someone that does a brand podcast? It's like, I didn't buy them. I saved my money. No, you want like a crazy person. It's like, yeah, I bought them all. I drove to 9 Targets to get as many Game of Thrones Oreos as I could.
The meetings that they have in the Oreo boardroom are about you.
They're about me. They have a big
Yes.
poster of me behind them. What is this guy going to buy now?
If they come out with an Oreo and you don't buy it, they have an emergency Zoom and they're like, what did we do wrong? John did not buy the Pac-Man Oreos. Was it because he had to download an app? Probably.
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 Wait, you wanted him to scan a cookie? Have you met John? Have you listened to him? He's not going to scan a cookie.
Well, because he doesn't want to open the bag.
He doesn't want to open the bag.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We have
Figure
notes.
it out,
We have
Oreo.
notes. We have some brand
notes.
aid for Oreo.
And I'm sure we'll come up with a movie that Matt Damon plays in the Oreo saga. Well, there you go,
Absolutely.
guys. There's our latest episode of On Brand.
We'll be back next week with an all-new episode. As always, if you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review. Tell your friends. Check out Instagram at OnBrandThePod. You can see clips from the episode, see John's humiliation and shame live
Yeah.
on video.
And for everyone, I know we've been asking you kindly to give us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Dare we say begging?
We beg for nice reviews, and you don't even have to write a review. It's really good if you do, but just click the 5 stars. We've gotten like 18. We're still trying to jump from 4.7 to 4.8. We're at 99 reviews now. We've gotten 18 reviews, and we're still at 4.7.
One of you could be the 100th review for the show, which would be very special. So we'll leave the show with a beg, and we'll be back next week with an all-new episode of On Brand. John, do you have a new send-off for us?
I do, and this one comes from I Get Hungry, and it's a real short and sweet one. So thanks for listening, everybody, and keep branding.
See ya.
Bye.
It's on brand.